Hello and welcome to Startup Jobin.a JobX Masterclass series, where we bring masters from different fields to share their insights with you. I'm Uma Shankar Akharia, co-founder and CEO at StartupJob.in. StartupJob.in is a dedicated job portal for Indian startups. We are trying to automate the entire recruitment lifecycle for the startup employers. Our company started last year in September, and the beta version of the website has been already launched on 1st of May 2020, which was International Labour Day. This Masterclass series is a weekly learning platform to provide specific tips to recruiters, startup founders, and job seekers. JobX is all about sharing the important insights for employers and candidates. Today, in this series, we are going to have discussion on a very pertinent topic of hiring strategies for leadership roles in startups. Leaders are the most important assets for any group, whether it's sports, politics, or corporate. The CXOs of the company can make or break the company. Let's take an example of Infosys. The Infosys during the time or the era of Mr. Narayan Murthy, how he had built the entire company and what kind of contribution he was making, and the life or the company after Mr. Narayan Murthy left and his core team left the company. That company is struggling with the leaders. So I think this is important, that how we can hire leaders who will take the organization to greater level. But the $1 million question is that how to source the best candidates and what kind of selection process we can employ so that we get the best of the best out from the lot. To answer some of these questions, today we have got Ms. Parul Kataria. She is Vice President Talent Acquisition at EXL Services. Parul has got 18 years of experience as talent acquisition professional. She is with EXL for almost 8 years. She joined here in 2012. Prior to this, she has worked with HCL Technologies as well for good 6-7 years. She's a passionate recruiter and now a leader. With EXL and HCL, both the companies, she was responsible for leadership hiring. She is on the education front. She is a Delhi University graduate with MBA HR. And it's our privilege that she had joined our masterclass series. So now let's start the discussion about this very interesting topic: how to hire leaders in your company. The structure of this particular masterclass is divided into two parts. The first part, 15 minutes, the speaker will be sharing insights and followed by a 15 minutes question and answer session. Let's hear from our honorable speaker today about hiring strategies for leadership roles in a startup. Over to you, Parul.
Thank you, Uma Shankar. Privileged to be part of this and glad to see you organizing such events which are insightful for many people. And there's so much of talent everywhere that unless and until we share, we will not be able to spread the knowledge that we have gained or the experience that we have gained over the years. And to all the people who are now watching this and looking for the insight, let me tell you, hiring is not science. Hiring is an art. No resume can tell you whether a person is culturally fit, functionally fit, technically fit into the requirement or not. Whether the investment that you are making will reap benefits. There is no foolproof method whereby you can apply that technique and say, yes, this is the right fit. What you can do is you can be methodical in your process and see how you can reduce the risk of hiring the wrong talent. And it is a step-by-step technique, and that's where the insights and the experience of the leaders come into the picture, and that's how you gain knowledge over a period of time. So please understand, it is not a science, and you are bound to make mistakes, and that's how you learn from your mistakes. Let me quickly share my screen. I had prepared some content and I'm sure it will be insightful for everyone who's watching this. Let me know when you are able to see the screen.
Yes.
So, as I said, it is not a science, it is an art. And hiring leaders, not just for startup, it can be challenging for any of the organization, any company, irrespective of the scale and the size. But yes, hiring a wrong leader can cost the company a lot more money, time, and investment. But when it comes to hiring a leader for the startup, a wrong leader, if you have hired, can be detrimental. And you know why? Because it is in the startup phase right now. So let's see what are the things that each one of us should know before we even get to starting to hire a leader. You should spend some time and prepare that list. You should know what you are hiring for. You should know when you meet up with the person, what type of questions are you going to ask? Are those relevant to the role? Or these are not making any sense. So you have to prepare. So it has to be a proactive approach. Compensation, I have seen, startups coming up and saying that we are looking for the best of the talent, but then our budget is not that high. And there are startups wherein they want to spend a large amount and hire the best of the talent. But then both have their pros and cons. So you should know what compensation, what is the budget for the role that you want to have for this or allocate for this role, looking at the criticality of the role. While it is important for an organization to get the right fit, but it is also important from the candidate perspective, from the applicant perspective, to know what is in it for him or her. So see what you have to offer to that applicant, to that leader, and spend not just few minutes, few hours, but if you have to spend few weeks or a month discussing internally, taking help from your friends, but then spend a lot of time to get the answers to all these above questions before you actually draft your talent strategy. That's the advice. And this is based on the experience that I have gained over the period of time that I'm requesting and suggesting that you should actually be talking about these pointers before you draft the talent strategy to hire a leader. And this hiring strategy is not just for leader, it could be at any level because you are looking for a talent which will stay on. You are looking for a person who would be in the organization for a longer period of time, the person who would look in for a growth with the organization. That's why people who are passionate, they join these startups. Now, let's look at what are the successful talent strategy or what are the key components of a successful talent strategy. Yes, we have to look at a cultural fitment. See, because we want to hire the talent which is the top of all the people who stands out from the crowd. We also should be looking at, and it might not be true for the leaders, but then when we are talking about hiring for startups, let's look at the upcoming talent, the new talent, and ensure the activities that you are doing to hire the talent, you spread that word. It goes to the market. People know that the organization that you are working for is hiring. Now I'll talk about these in detail. Uh, there was a survey which was done by LinkedIn, and still a lot of people, which is 25% of the population, say that they look for a company which has great culture. So it is very, very, very important for an organization, and not just for startup, for any organization, to cultivate a culture that appeals to the new talent. And when you are looking for attracting the talent, you are offering that alternative to the people who are working with the larger organization. So create that kind of a engaging work environment, offer the challenging work, present opportunities for growth so that people see that they are or they get an opportunity to grow with the organization. Now, The other parameters when we talk about attracting the talent is look for the people who stand out from the crowd, because there will be multiple people that you have to choose from. So look at, when you are talking to an individual, when you are offering an opportunity, you have to look at what the person is looking for, whether what your organization has to offer, where does it fit into the aspiration of the applicant. If it does not fit into that, which means then that organization and the applicant, I mean, it's not going to be a great collaboration. So we have to look at what we are offering, what they are looking for. It has to be 100% match, and see how you can probably, align the desires or the goals that an organization has to the needs of the individual, the applicant. It is very, very important to play or talk about the strengths of the organization. Very important to know what the organization is going in for. What is the value proposition of the organization? What is the vision and the mission of the organization? Unless you know of all these things, you will not be able to sell the role to any applicant. Whether the person is the best of the lot or whether the person is very average. So you should list down, or the organization should spend some time in listing down those vision, mission, and only then go to the market and start attracting the talent. And look for talent, because I said initially that you can't really figure out whether a person is the right fit or not just by looking at the CV. So there are numerous things that you have to explore, which are beyond CV and the work experience. Look at what are the interests and the hobbies and the extracurricular activities that the person has been part of. And it is true for all levels, not just entry level position, not for the senior level position, but for all position, because that reveals a lot more about the applicant than what is mentioned in the CV. There are so many organizations now helping the candidate to write down, to draft their CV. And you would also agree, you search for a new skill which has just come into the market, you enter that skill, and you would get to see almost every CV has that skill, because applicants are also smart. They know how to, become visible. But then a smart recruiter, a smart talent strategy is, how do you filter out those? Else you will be spending a lot of time assessing, evaluating all the applications, all the candidates, and losing a lot of time. And when I say that you should market what you are hiring, people should know that a startup or any organization is hiring. The reason being, and it's a proven fact, that referred employees take shortest to hire and onboard. And then the retention of those employees, those applicants, is larger, longer compared to the ones that you reach out to. And word of mouth, it is a cost effective and a powerful way to source the right talent. Because if it is coming within from your organization, from within your organization, your people know what kind of a culture is there, what kind of people are we looking for, what kind of work are we doing, and then they reach out to the people who they know would be the right fit. So that saves a lot of time and energy. And because the new hire also look for certain confidence in, or the trust and the security. If they know there is an internal employee reaching out to them, they would be more confident to apply for that particular role. And they would know what is in it, because they have seen the other person who is working with the organization, how the person has grown, what kind of work the person has been doing. So foster a positive word of mouth about your company and the team. Encourage or implement a beneficial referral program that will get you many, many referrals. And that is for all levels, all positions, and not just for entry or the senior leadership positions. Few of the additional tips, and this is based on my personal experience. whenever you go out in the market, if it's a very vaguely written job description, that will not get you applicants, that will not help you attract the talent. So you should ensure that you have a well crafted and personified job description. It is detailed and it talks about what an applicant would look in for or is looking in for, because an applicant would apply for a job description, and any leader would only decide whether he or she wants to apply to an organization once they go through the job description, because it tells a lot about the organization. It tells a lot about the key responsibility areas that the person will be managing. And once you have that job description in place, and in fact, when we talk about this digital thing, which is now very in, and every organization is talking about digitization, and lot many organizations have done that. So are we. We are now talking about the job descriptions which are video based, which talks about the company culture, and it's not just talking, but it is a kind of a virtual tour, or it is a kind of a digital world that they enter into, wherein the people get to see what company are we getting into. So the culture is depicted through those videos. The information about organization is depicted through those videos. So see how important, how critical it is to have those kind of job description. How important it is to attract the talent. We should have those clear, well crafted job descriptions, and spend a lot of time, see what kind of talent is available, and then you want to decide or tweak your job description, do that. And once you have people applying, or when you reach out to the people, they like the role, then comes wherein you have to sell the role very effectively. And especially for the senior leadership position, executive search firm do the magic, because they know, they do it day in, day out. They understand how to sell the role if they are taught well about the organization. What are the EVPs, employee value propositions, or the mission or the vision of the organization? If they know very well, they will sell the role very effectively. So tie up with those executive search firms, especially for the senior leadership roles, wherein you are looking to hire CXOs. It is very, very important for any applicant to know what they are getting into. So do not just talk about all the benefits, all the advantages, all the plus, all the pros. Talk about the negative side of it. Tell them what they are getting into so that it is not a surprise or a shocker to them. Talk about the team that they will be managing or they'll be working with. Talk about the pain areas that your organization as a startup is going through. Why did you come up with this role is really very, very important. And irrespective of the scale of the organization, it is important for all the senior leadership hires, because they really want to know if it is a new role or it is a replacement. How did an organization come up with this role? And they really want to see what contributions the person or the organization is looking forward or looking for from this particular role. What is the opportunity for the person? How will he or she grow with the organization? Very important. So all these pointers that I just spoke about, these are in the initial few discussions that you will talk about before you get into the actual detailed assessment. And especially for the startups, please do not make the mistake of interviewing a person. Do not even call it interview. It will be a conversation. It is a discussion that you have to get into. It is a discussion, it is an exchange of conversation, because the applicant would want to know what the company is all about. Like you would want to know what has been the strengths and the opportunity areas of an applicant so that you can take a decision. Similarly, on the other side of the table, the person sitting would also want to know what organization, what culture, what kind of people do you have, what kind of work, what kind of clients do you have, what kind of policies, that you have in place, which makes it interesting, which makes it lucrative, and how challenging is the work environment. Because beyond a point, people do not look for brand name. And that's my personal experience. They look for job satisfaction. Of course, monetary is equally important, but then that doesn't hold a person for a long time. What holds a passionate person is the role that the person has been offered. That's what they look for. They look for stability. If the role is not interesting, but then the person is paid significantly high, the person will leave after a year probably because the person is bored. So it is very, very important to understand through the conversation what the applicant is looking for. How does organization interest matches the interest of the applicant? Don't look for just the skill. Do not make that mistake. Look for a combination of character and skill because this person will become part of the organization, and somebody who's spending numerous hours working in the organization, and especially in these startups, the person have to devote more time because it is in the setting up or in the initial stages. So look for a combination of character and the skill. Look for people who are really passionate about their work. Skill can be trained, but character, you can't build the character of a person. That's something which is in the individual. And also, what I have heard is that a lot of organizations say that we are not looking at the current need, but what we are looking at from a future or a long-term perspective, somebody who would fit into the next level also. No, especially for the startups, the scale changes, the need change, the skill sets required would also change. So fulfill the current role and do not look at an applicant from a futuristic perspective. While it is true to look for a candidate or an applicant from a futuristic perspective, when you have proved yourself, when the organization has spent number of years, when there is scale, but for a startup, fulfill the current role. And looking at the role, the complexity of the skill that you are looking at, the process of hiring will be longer, and it will be longer for all the individuals, in fact, which are there. So the reason being that you really want to ensure that the person that you bring in is fitting into most of the criteria. And if the person is not fitting into, and to ensure that you have that kind of a person in place, you meet up not just once, twice. So there is no hard and fast rule that you cannot interview a person for more than 2 or 3 rounds. Have those informal coffee sessions or breakfast meeting or lunch or the dinner meetings if you like somebody during your first interaction. That's how you get to know the character of a person, how the person behave in different environment. Do not worry about the process. Do not worry about how long is it taking you. Because you have to ensure that you eliminate risk at each level. But of course, too much of lengthier process will also not reap the results that you are looking in for. The other thing is, when we are hiring for a leadership role, do not just look for the leadership experience, whether the person has led a team of 40, 50, 100, 200. No. Look for people who also have experience and hands-on experience also, because it's very, very important for somebody. And most of the time I have seen, and irrespective of the scale of the organization, we looking for people who are ready to get their hands dirty whenever there is a need. So do not just look in for people who are who have that kind of experience to lead the team, but see or look for the people who as a leader can mentor the team, can get the team to do the task, can help them if they are stuck up, and do not hesitate to do the work that their team members are doing when there is a need. And of course, most important is to check or do multiple reference. Most of the organization have 2 or 3, but in my view, do multiple reference check. Look at the people that the person has worked in the past at the same level. Do the reference check from his or her juniors, and of course the supervisors. And if the person is okay and you can do some client reference checks, I think nothing like it. But spend a lot of time doing that due diligence before really investing in that person. It is really very important. And as I said, you cannot eliminate, you cannot be 100% sure that the person that you are hiring is the right fit. It's a hit and a trial method, but we have to go by step and ensure that we are eliminating the risk of a wrong hire at every stage. That's what is important. So that's all from my side. And just give me a second.
The screen has been closed.
Okay, so thank you, Uma. So that's all from my side, and this is to summarize how we can eliminate risk when we are talking about the leadership hiring, or when we are talking about the hiring overall for these startups. And in the end, I just want to say that you can have a best strategy and the best building in the world. But if you do not have the hearts and the mind of the people who are working for you, who are working with you, none of it comes to life. So ensure every bit, build that kind of a culture wherein people are more than interested to work with you. That's what is more important. Thank you. That's all from my side. And thank you, Uma, for this session. It was really wonderful. And now, as you said, the second part will be the question and answer. So over to you.
Thanks a lot, Parul, for the exciting and your insightful information about leadership hiring. And I really love the fact that it's not someone who is just at the leadership level and doesn't understand the nitty gritty of the recruitment. But you are still you are very hands-on about the recruiting advancements which are taking place. You spoke about video JDs as well. So this is one very interesting thing which you have spoke. I would request you to elaborate further on this. So I am assuming that the video JD means 2 to 5 minutes of a video where maybe hiring manager or maybe CXO are talking about what kind of role is this, or is there had got something else as well? Company pictures will be there, maybe cabin of that individual will be there. So what all we put into this video JD?
So, Uma, people are being innovative. And what you just said, it would not, having converting a Word document into a video wherein somebody is talking all the pointers doesn't help. You really have to be innovative in the approach when you are creating those video job description. Talking about the company culture and showcasing it through the videos is something different. That's how you depict or showcase the company culture. So people are trying all innovative ideas, innovative ways. You can have multiple things in that video job description. Virtual tour of the office, as you said, do you really want to showcase the team that the person will be working for, the area wherein the person will be based out of, the cabin or the cubicle or whatsoever. But yeah, a leadership talking about some of the challenges that the person will go through the video job description will give a lot more ideas about what the role is than just listing down the KRAs. It could be a situation based job description that you come up with wherein the person is made to think, what solutions can be applied to this kind of a role. And that's how you pull the talent. That's how you generate interest for that particular role.
So as per you, what do you think that the role of creating this video should be with HR or TA, professionals, or it should be with the founders or CXO. They should talk about this. But then there is an issue of time, that how much time they have got for this kind of work.
No, it is a team effort. I would not say that CXOs should own it, or I would not say that it is the responsibility of the organizer or the TA leaders, or it is the responsibility of the HRs. No, it is a team effort. When you are hiring an individual, you are hiring not just for one function, but for the company. Yeah, so, and especially for the startup, it is like a small family wherein people interact almost on daily basis. They know each other, they gel well, they collaborate, and unless they collaborate well with each other, I think you cannot really go to the next level. So it is really important to own up as a team and work on bettering the process or implementing the process, which will generate or get you good returns.
Right. So now I would like to come to the culture part of it, that when we are hiring anyone, whether it's at junior level or a senior, level, the culture fit is very important. And it's equally important to showcase the kind of culture we have in our company. Now the question become complex when we talk about the startup, context, because the company is relatively new, it's small, and the culture has not evolved as such. It will take time. Maybe few employees will join, and then the culture or the DNA of the organization will change entirely differently. So, how first thing is how to make a culture in very short span of time. Second, how to communicate that. I'm not just confining to the video part, but overall conversation, interviews, or the communication, whatever is happening, how we can do it in a shorter span of time.
See, one is it's not about the scale of the organization that a company with larger scale will have the best of the culture. Believe me, there are organizations which has the worst culture and they have really good scale, but people are not really keen to work with them. And even if they joined them, they left those organizations because they did not gel well within the culture. How you build the culture is all up to you, the leaders of the organization. You have to create that inclusive work environment. You cannot be a bossy person bossing around all the time. You have to tell them that they are the person who's being hired is equally important. And that is the reason I said forget about interviewing for any of the role. It has to be a conversation, it has to be a discussion. The moment you say, okay, tell me, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 questions and answer those questions. Okay, you have only answered 5. You lost the talent. Even if the person, answered all 10, you lost that opportunity. It is important to take the buy-in of the individual that you are conversing with, and the person is a new hire. When we talk about startups, how they can create that engaging environment, engaging work culture is wherein you include or create that inclusive work environment wherein people feel that they are all in it. And it's not just one person dictating the terms and taking the lead, and then those guys are the followers. Their value, they are not valued, or their viewpoint do not count. No, if you have that kind of a culture, then believe me, people would not really be happy to be part of that organization. So I think that's the starting point. Create that inclusive work environment. What else you can offer from the startup point of view is you offer them the flexibility to work from wherever they want to. Show confidence in them that it is the deliverables that we are more interested in. It is not that you have to spend or complete 5 hours of the login time or 10 hours of the login time and not doing anything. If you are able to deliver that in 2 hours, I am not going to question you. That's how I think the smarter organization, these startups especially, should be thinking on those lines. So when the person knows, yeah, I will not be chased, or there'll not be numerous calls of the follow up from my boss. Where are you? What are you doing? Why have you not reported to office? But then the person is, have you completed that work? Do you need any support? Is there any kind of a challenge that you are facing? You have shown that kind of a confidence. You have given the complete ownership. So I think these are small things, so the gestures that would, or that builds the company culture.
Thanks. One of our audience members, Harsh Raj Jain, would like to ask a question. Please, Harsh, please unmute yourself and ask the question directly.
Yeah, hi everyone. Am I audible?
Yes,
Parul,
please.
Uma, am I
Yes,
audible?
please. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So I just wanted to quickly check. I have just mentioned this in my questionnaire. My name is Harsh. I head the talent acquisition group for Ebix for India and APAC. Right. So I'm very curious to know about this. Uh, there are certain cases, I would not name it though, due to the personal thing though, but then we are facing quite a few problems in terms to avoid impersonation during virtual interviews. So do you mind, guys, with your great insights as your leaders, so any best practices which you are following up right now when you're just hiring in for leadership and the mid level, anything which is working out best, or any example which you want to quote in? So if you can just cite in something, that'll be a value add to me, please.
Sure, Harsh, and I think that's the concern, not just from your side, but lot many people are coming up
Fine.
with this question. In fact, the last webinar that I did, it was the question from many individuals, and my answer to everyone is that there is no way that you can be 100% sure that the person you hire is the right person. What we can do is we can apply methods, we can use different techniques through multiple discussions. We can try to figure out whether it is the same person or not. And that's what, when I talk about my personal experience, because today also I do the vice president and above hiring myself, and I get involved in those discussions. So one is, if you have good budget for the talent acquisition, going for those digital platform, digital tools which comes with the proctoring. That will tell you a lot about the individual, the facial expression, the movement of the eye. So it captures each and every aspect and it throws a report. And you'll figure out whether the person that you interviewed is the person actually joined, or there is something fishy about that person. What we do is, while we are also implementing those techniques, but what we are doing is, through the multiple touch points, we are ensuring that we have the photo ID of that person sent out to the interviewer. We are inviting that, or we are requesting for that at the first stage itself. Once you have the photo ID proof and you are sending it to the minimum 2 interviews or 3 interviews that you are doing, at least you are reducing or eliminating the risk. And believe me, if there is some kind of an impersonation, that individual will not be able to clear. That will be hardly 1% of the population. And when you talk about the mid or the senior level positions, at least I have not come across many cases wherein this has happened. And this challenge, or the challenge of impersonation, was there since the inception. I remember when we used to hire for HCL Technologies and go to different locations in down south and east and west, we had that kind of a struggle then also, because you are organizing walk-ins of large people and you are meeting up with hundreds of the people. You would not remember whether it's the same person that you interviewed and selected. Are you rolling out the offer to the same person? And believe me, we have come a long way. It was that point in time, I think it was about 8 to 10% of the impersonation cases that were brought or that we found out. But then today, with all the technologies in place and being a lot more diligent that you are, it's not just only the TA leaders have to be responsible for this. As I told Uma, it is a team effort, irrespective of whether it is HCL or EXL or any other organization. everybody is in it. It is the team effort. So when your interviewers are assessing or evaluating and they're doing the face-to-face discussion over the video, WhatsApp or whatever tool that you are using, they have to also be diligent. They have to ensure that if there is something fishy, they point it out then and there itself.
All right, Parul. Well, thank you so much. Yes, you are absolutely correct. It reminds me, 10, 12 years back, I was a part of HCL. We used to go along with one recruiter, one assessor format. We used to conduct word sends and all these things. I still remember. So, of course, you are absolutely right. So, my next question is related to what you mentioned. So, we are using certain tools. When I talk about certain tools, we have just taken in, like, assessment tools like Hogan, OPQ, MBTI, and all. So, do you really think and do you recommend any one of them, or probably anything else which you feel would be a right fit for this? Like,
So first,
occupational
if
accessibility
this is
test.
for the technical, I don't know whether these are the psychometric assessments that you are talking about, or these are some of the technical assessment tools that you are talking about. It all depends on the need that you
Mhm.
have.
Yeah,
So if and any test, or assessment tool or technique that you are implementing or using, you should
yeah.
not be blindly following. If
Okay.
the tool says that the person is reject, any of the assessment tool cannot be a rejection or a selection criteria. It tells you the complete report of an individual, and that's true for the psychometric test. It tells you what are the weak areas and what are the strengths. So which all areas you should probe a person, but do not make a decision basis the machine based tests.
Yeah.
It tells you the complete report, and it tells you what all areas you should focus upon or drill down further to ensure that the person is the right hire, whether there are skills that can be, or the areas wherein the person can be upskilled, and then you take a decision.
Understood. Last question. I'm sorry. I'm just quite inquisitive. Just last question. Sorry, I'll not bother you guys much. I have a team of around 72 people across Pan India and APAC. So just to keep them busy, we just put them on calls every Monday, starting of the week, every Friday, end of the week to plan in and all. So other than this, any insights which you want to give in to keep them more busy? Any free sourcing certification? Anything which you want to talk about? Anything?
Yeah, I think there is a one
Like
which is
free sourcing
organized
certification?
by, there is one which is organized by LinkedIn, wherein you get them trained on that tool and also get them certified. And it is not just beneficial for your own organization, but I think it will add a lot of value to their resume also. They will also get upskilled. And
Absolutely.
this is the time, and social media is everywhere, and the person who is not on social media, who doesn't know how to use social media effectively, I think is lagging behind.
Great. Thank you so much. So nice of you guys. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot, Harsh. These were a very important question. Now, I have got one more question, Parul. This is the last question. I wish to turn the tables now, and from a candidate perspective, who is targeting leadership kind of role, whether it's a small company or big company. See, the pyramid structure is there. The jobs at the top are very less. So, what kind of strategies or what kind of tips you would like to give to candidates while they are looking for the leadership roles? So, how they plan out their strategy? They are not expert. They do not look out for the jobs on a regular basis. Maybe once in a 3 years, 5 years. So, they need some insights from a recruiter. What we think. You are
So,
on mute, yes.
Uma, when I talk about from the applicant perspective, you should agree that hardly there'll be any individual or very few of that lot who has not been reached out by executive search firms or the firms which specialize in leadership hiring. There are numerous roles that are there in the market. And believe me, people's CV is always updated. So the only tip that I have is please stay updated on what's happening in the market. Know who your competitors are. What are they doing? If you have spent 7, 8, 10 years with the organization, don't confine yourself only to that organization. Being with the same organization for 15 years also, you can gain a lot about what's happening in the market. And if you have that kind of an information, that knowledge, you upgrade yourself, you upgrade your skill, and there's no looking back, irrespective of which organization, what role, whether there is so much of upgradation that has already happened in the role that you are managing or not. If you have also upgraded or upskilled yourself, I think that makes you more in, or that makes you more in demand, or you will be in demand. Then in that case, if you have upskilled yourself over the years, if you know what company is hiring, how are they doing, what clients they are managing, so stay ahead of the competition, stay updated on what's happening in the market, participate in blogs, in the seminars, in the webinars, and go represent your organization, represent yourself, create your own brand so that people know, this is the person and this is the legacy that the person is leaving behind. So it is very important to create your own brand, not just within the organization, but outside the organization also. Now it is all up to you whether you want to switch jobs or you want to stay with the organization and plan your retirement there. But yes, that's absolutely all up to you. Create that brand.
So I have got a follow-up question on this. I'm talking about the individuals who are at mid-level. Now they have grown to a CXO kind of category with the same company. They do not have any prior experience of searching for the leadership role. Now they have entered into the market. How to start their search journey? I have seen many cases that they do not feel comfortable with putting their CVs on job portals like Naukri, IIMjobs, and all that stuff. They reach out to n number of consultants, and not every consultant is equipped to handle those kind of candidates, or they cannot have the conversations with them. So they feel frustrated. Then what to do? From where we can start or begin our search? So what's the first step for them?
So, Uma, I would say that it is, like I said, it is important to know what's happening around. So you should know which are the target organization, which organization you want to be part of. So if you know which organization is doing what, and the skill that you have, the talent that you have, the capability that you have, these are the certain roles that would be in few of the organization. So come up with that list of the organization first. Follow those organization on social media. Visit their website. Visit their, the career page on LinkedIn or the other social media platform that are there. Gain more insight and the information about those organizations. There is a lot, or in fact, there are many other platforms that are available which talks a lot about the organization. In fact, you get all the details, what kind of work is done, how's the work culture, what compensation, what shift timing. Glassdoor and every other tool, they talk about that. So you have to spend that much of time to do that due diligence. So list down the organization, start following, start gathering those information about those organizations. And when you know there is a role which you are interested in, then reach out to the executive search firm. Because if you reach out to any consultant, they would not know. You are saying, I'm looking for a job change. This is my profile. The consultant do not know what kind of a role, what kind of an organization are you looking for. And if you look at the professional search firms, what they do is they would not just work on your CV, they would work on the individual. They would want to have a discussion to see the intellect of the level, to see the skill set that the person has, how is the persona, personality. So all that is considered before even executive search firms start working on your profile. But yes, if you are looking for that kind of a role, then don't be in a hurry. If you decide that I am looking for a change and I should get it just, like that, no, it doesn't work like that.
Thanks a lot, Parul. Thanks a lot. I would like to communicate our heartfelt gratitude to you. You took your time and share a beautifully explain also the PPT and the points about it. I would like to summarize few things or again highlight few things which you have talked about. So first thing was about hiring is an art. It's not a science. So it require you to practice that art. That's very important point which you have spoke about. Then you talked about the culture aspect of it when you are hiring, how important is to look out for culture fit, also to communicate the culture maybe through conversation. And it's always discussion conversation, not the interviews when you are hiring at a senior role. So these were very important aspects which you have highlighted, and thanks a lot for, once again. And hopefully we will meet soon once this lockdown is over. Then hopefully we will meet soon. Thanks a lot
Thank
for
you,
your time.
Ma. Thank you so much.
Thank you.